Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a 2024 prediction. This was requested by 2048 Political Commentary, so go check his channel out, but he suggested this video. I was going to make it an election night, but I do not have enough time to make it an election night, so I'm just going to do a normal prediction video. And, yeah, AOC, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think these would be not the best matchup. I do not think AOC would be a strong candidate, and I do not think Marjorie Taylor Greene would also be a strong candidate. But I do think AOC would have a slight advantage because she is less extreme than Marjorie Taylor Greene. But yeah, safe states for AOC: Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota. I think would be safe. Or likely, I think it would just be safe because the Marjorie Taylor Greene would basically get no appeal maybe in some suburbs. But yeah, I do not really see Marjorie Taylor Greene having too much appeal. Illinois, I think would be safe. Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, New York, obviously all these states, and 2nd District. Safe for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Actually, I'm going to give that to her by a likely margin. Next, let's just do New Hampshire, just right now. Lean margin for AOC. You know, there's a lot of just traditional Democratic voters would stick with her, and like a lot of Bernie bros from the Vermont area, I guess. You know, because AOC will appeal to like a lot of Bernie bros. So, safe states for Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm gonna have to say Alaska would be likely. No, that would be safe. Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Nebraska. See, I'm gonna make the 2nd District like a lean margin, maybe. Well, nah, I'm just gonna put in likely. Just because of Marjorie Taylor Greene, not because of AOC would be doing well. Kansas, I'm going to have to say likely. Same with Montana. AOC is not going to have too much appeal in these states, but Marjorie Taylor Greene will not be popular in these states, in my opinion. So I think that's why it would be likely margin she will win these states by like 9 points. Obviously, AOC will never win these states, but I do think Marjorie Taylor Greene would not get enough just like a handful of traditional Republican voters. Oklahoma, safe. Texas, I'm gonna have to say lean 5 points maybe because AOC will have some appeal to like young voters in urban areas in Texas. But Marjorie Taylor Greene has it's Texas obviously, and I don't see AOC really winning anytime soon. Louisiana, Arkansas. I'm just gonna try to do these fast, and the other states I will. Okay. Now, all these other states I consider the battleground states in this election somewhat. And let's start with Iowa. Iowa, I'm going to have to give Marjorie Taylor Greene by a likely margin. Iowa, AOC is not going to be popular in Iowa at all. Marjorie Taylor Greene would be the better candidate in Iowa than AOC. AOC is just seen off as a big liberal from New York. You know, she's seen out as elitist, you could say. Just like leftist, radical. Even though people see her as that. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is a really bad, terrible candidate, but she would have to win Iowa. AOC, I do not see AOC winning Iowa anytime soon. Marjorie Taylor Greene, if it was against another Democratic candidate, I would give that to the Democrat bias, tilt margin. But as of now, I do not think AOC would win, mostly because AOC would not have a lot of turnout. Marjorie Taylor Greene would not have a lot of turnout in Iowa as well, but I just think she would do better. I forgot District of Columbia. Next is Missouri, also likely margin, just because Marjorie Taylor Greene is pretty radical, and some areas will go out for AOC in St. Louis. I think in St. Louis and those types of areas, I do think Marjorie Taylor Greene will be destroyed in. But obviously, it's not going to go to AOC soon. A lot of what I said for Iowa would be the same for Missouri. Ohio, I'm going to give Marjorie Taylor Greene by a lean margin. Usually, if this was Marjorie Taylor Greene versus a generic Democrat, I might have given Ohio to the Democrats, but by a tilt margin. But I have to give Marjorie Taylor Greene by lean. AOC will do well, like with Nina Turner voters, I think, and a lot of Bernie bros in the state, and I do think she could do pretty well. But it's Ohio, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, would barely have the edge by 2, 4, 3 points, whatever. I really do not know what else to say about Ohio. And now we are going to go to the Florida. I'm going to have to give lean margin to Marjorie Taylor Greene because there is a Trump base there, and AOC is going to do well with some Orlando areas, so in urban areas, in populous areas in Florida, but I don't think not enough for her to win. And now the next states. Nevada, I think I'll give Nevada to AOC by a lean margin. I feel like every Democrat in the future at this point is going to win Nevada by a lean or tilt margin. AOC, I do think, will do well in areas like Las Vegas. I do think she will be easily connecting voters in a way. I do think she would do well in Nevada. I think that is a good state for AOC. One of the most likely swing states that she would win. In Arizona, I think I'll give AOC by a tilt margin, maybe. Because I do think she would win overall. Maybe she could almost win by 1 point. Like, to be honest, I do not think moderates would even vote in this election. I do not think moderates would just, I feel like moderates, they would just not even vote for anyone in Arizona especially. But I do think AOC would win a lot of more. Well, the thing is, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, traditional Republicans, John McCain Republicans in Arizona, they will not go out for Marjorie Taylor Greene. They will not vote for her at all. They're not going to vote for AOC, but they are going to have a pretty low turnout rate. So that's going to hurt Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my opinion, and that will. That's the reason why I think I'll give AOC Arizona. Oops, no, I don't know what to really say. This is just a really bad matchup. Wisconsin, I'm going to give Wisconsin to AOC by a tilt margin. I'm going to give this by a tilt margin, even though I'm tempted to give this by a lean margin. I think I'm going to give this, I'm going to give this to her by a lean margin. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is just a terrible candidate, and I'm going to give all of the blue-collar states to AOC by a lean margin. Obviously, I think she would just by 1 point or 2 points. They're just two terrible candidates. Marjorie Taylor Greene is obviously the worser one out of the two. So that's why I think she would win. Wisconsin would be the closest. Pennsylvania would be second closest. And Michigan, I think, would be the most likely for AOC to win easily. But yeah, AOC is not going to connect with a lot of white people in the suburbs. Marjorie Taylor Greene will not get them out to vote, even though they might have some ideas. But I don't think they would just really vote for her, which would make AOC win. With some traditional Democratic voters and some leftist, quote-unquote. But yeah, that's why I think I would give those to her by a lean margin. I do think these states would be closer, though, than they look, and how I'm saying that. But this would make her have the edge of winning. And next is North Carolina. Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to win North Carolina by a tilt margin, in my opinion. I think she's going to win by tilt margin because there's a lot of, I don't know how to say this. There's a lot of just Trump-based Republicans in the state with some traditional Republicans. And the Trump base will obviously go out for Marjorie Taylor Greene, the extreme of the extreme Trump base. But, yeah. And North Carolina is just... I just do not see AOC winning. But obviously I do think it would be close because the minority vote will obviously really go against Marjorie Taylor Greene. But North Carolina, I don't think there's enough circumstances for a Marjorie Taylor Greene to win not Arizona, in North Carolina. Sorry. And next is Georgia. I'm going to have to give Georgia to a lean margin to Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is actually I'm going to have to give it a tilt because there's going to be a lot of extreme Trump-based Republicans, you could say, going for Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I do think the minority vote will help AOC win with some traditional Republicans. Overall, AOC might win some traditional Republicans, and I'm talking about 8%, not a lot. I just feel like basically none of them would vote, but yeah, I just think she would win it. I don't know what to say, but yeah, this is what my prediction will be. Sorry about my explaining. This is not an easy one to explain, because these are both really bad candidates. and so it's really hard for me how to say why I think they would win or lose. So sorry about that. It's kind of hard for me to explain. This is my final prediction. AOC wins a lot of states by 1 point or less. But yeah, this is what I think. Marjorie Taylor Greene, bad. AOC, bad candidate. And you put it all together, I do think AOC would win, though, because she is a stronger candidate and has less of an unfavorable perspective of voters. But yeah, this is what I think the map will look like. And thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below if you agree with me. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.